Barbatos, described as the 7th demon in Ars Goetia, is a great duke who commands 30 of the hellish legions. At a glance, Barbatos maintains quite a stark appearance compared to the demons that have preceded him in Ars Goetia, specifically the fact that Barbatos is much more humanoid in appearance. He is an archer, as far as we can tell. He wears human clothes, and his characteristics make him more familiar to us than, say, the likes of Bael, Samigina, or Valefor. Now, some might say that this is typical of a demon, that it would seek to take the appearance of something or someone more familiar, and to use them in the hopes of catching us off guard. However, despite the limited information provided to us regarding this demon, there are some interesting tidbits that not only frame him as one of the more unique entities, but also harken back to the demon's beginnings, where his more humanoid features may have been a result of a more benign and holy origin. Historically, the concept of demons, spirits, and supernatural entities was deeply rooted in various cultures and religions. The medieval and Renaissance periods were marked by a fascination with the esoteric and the occult, often driven by a thirst for forbidden knowledge and power. Ars Goetia, part of the larger grimoire The Lesser Key of Solomon, sought to provide practitioners with a means to control and command these demons for personal gain, protection, or various arcane purposes, and it's from such a book do we get exposure to one such as the Demon of the Woods, Barbatos. According to Ars Goetia, we are told the 8th spirit is Barbatos. He is a great duke, and appeareth when the sun is in Sagittary, with 4 noble kings and their companies of great troops. He giveth understanding of the singing birds, and of voices of other creatures, such as the barking of dogs. He breaketh the hidden treasures open, that have been laid by the enchantments of magicians. He is of the order of virtues, of which some part he retaineth still, and he knoweth all things past and to come, and concilieth friends, and those that be in power. He ruleth over 30 legions of spirits. His seal of obedience is this, the which swear before thee as oversaid. Here we learn that Barbatos is a great duke, placing him in terms of rank amongst the likes of Agares and Valefor, both of whom rule 30 and 10 legions respectively. As always, Ars Goetia does not attempt to determine how large these legions are, nor what their relevance to the demon is. It can be assumed, however, that the larger a legion they maintain control over, the more influence this demon has in hell, and perhaps, by that logic, how powerful this demon is overall. With this information, we are also told a rather unique description for the demons thus far that incorporates the astrological signs, associating Barbatos with that of Sagittarius, the archer. Whilst unconfirmed, there is an idea here that Sagittarius is an alias for Barbatos, and that he is this very archer, sometimes a centaur, that is seen amongst the constellations. On top of this, the text reveals to us that Barbatos appears when the sun is in Sagittarius, which according to the tropical zodiac is between the months of November and December. With that in mind, it might be deduced that Barbatos can only be summoned during these specific months. When he is successfully summoned, the text tells us that he does so with 4 noble kings and their companies. Who these noble kings are and why they accompany the demon is not known to us, and unfortunately, the text does not attempt to draw any conclusion about their identities. In any case, once Barbatos is summoned, the text specifies that he gives understanding of the singing birds and the voices of other animals, including dogs. Through this, the summoner might then expect to be able to talk to and understand their own pets, or any other animal for that matter, for through Barbatos, the barrier of communication between species is suddenly lifted. Much like Samigina, who helps teach the sciences, or with Vasago, who helps find lost items. Barbatos is one of those entities who, despite their demonic heritage, actually doesn't seem all that bad, and aren't out to hurt humanity, but rather help them if so requested. Like several demons in Ars Goetia, there is no specified consequence for working with creatures like Barbatos, and as with several of these demons, the knowledge and power that is gained from such spirits might be worth any potential risk. As any religious devout might tell you though, the summoning of demons and the entertaining of spirits is not congruent with a righteous and God-fearing lifestyle, and even though some of the demons might even be friendly, they are not in accordance with scripture, teachings, or the intentions of their God. As if talking to animals wasn't enough, Ars Goetia tells us that Barbatos can even help break the enchantments that other sorcerers may have placed on hidden treasure, enabling the summoner to retrieve it for themselves. He can also mend damaged relationships between friends, much as the demon Aamon who came before him, and can also see into the past and the future, knowing all things that have and will happen. But the most interesting detail around Barbatos comes in the form of his origin, which is told to us in Ars Goetia that he is of the order of virtues, of which some part he retaineth still. As documented in the Etymologies by Archbishop Isidore of Seville, the virtues, or the order of the virtues, were one of 3 orders comprising of different classes of angels. The order of the virtues were recognized for their mastery over the natural elements, where they oversaw phenomena such as storms, earthquakes, and hurricanes. These celestial beings were also believed to play a crucial part in facilitating miracles and nurturing human faith in the divine. The virtues are often described as angels of nature, or angels that have some authority over nature and the natural elements. It would therefore make some sense as to why Barbatos specialized in the language barrier between species, whereby he possesses the power to override nature and allow for interactions between species that could not normally take place. In some capacity, you might even say that Barbatos worked miracles, much as the virtues were believed to once do. You will notice that Ars Goetia explains to us that he still retains some of his former angelicness, which may even give way to his more humanesque characteristics, and that though he has clearly fallen, he still possesses marvellous abilities. We see Barbatos also appear in Colin de Plancy's Dictionary Infernal, where we are told, "Great and powerful demon, horned Earl of Hell, similar to Robin of the Woods, or Jack of the Green. He appears in the form of an archer or a hunter. One meets him in the forests. 4 kings sound the horn before him. He teaches divination by birdsong, by the lowing of cattle, by the barking of dogs, and the cries of diverse other animals. He knows the treasures buried in the earth by magicians. He reconciles friends who have fallen out. This demon, who was once of the order of the virtues of heaven, or of those of heavenly dominions, is reduced today to commanding 30 hellish legions. He knows the past and the future." What's interesting here, besides the slightly different rank of Earl, is that de Plancy actually compares Barbatos to that of English folktale characters Robin Hood and Jack of the Green, the former being a notable and often selfless protagonist, and something of a champion of the poor. It's so rare that we would compare a demonic being, especially a being that is essentially a fallen angel, considering its origins, with that of a character with more wholesome and noble attitudes. Perhaps this is an indication of the original authors, and those who summoned Barbatos, that the demon was not necessarily evil, but indeed an entity that could be trusted, and an entity that did have humanity's best interests in mind. It does, however, only further beg the question as to what such a being could have done to have fallen from its angelic order. Meanwhile, Barbatos is also mentioned by Dutch occultist and demonologist Johann Weyer in his 16th century classification Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. Here, Weyer's account mostly follows the same as de Plancy's and Ars Goetia's, telling us Barbatos, a great county or earl, and also a duke. He appeareth in signo Sagittarii Silvestris, with 4 kings, which bring companies and great troops. He understandeth the singing of birds, the barking of dogs, the lowings of bullocks, and the voice of all living creatures. He detecteth treasures hidden by magicians and enchanters, and is of the order of virtues, which in part bear rule. He knoweth all things past and to come, and reconcilieth friends and powers, and governeth 30 legions of devils by his authority. As always guys, if you've enjoyed today's episode on Ars Goetia, be sure to leave this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time.